What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and it's Age of Mythology Retold update time. But before we jump into that, I have something special to share with you guys. Literally tomorrow, we kick off the Champions League playoffs. We got the Challengers League quarterfinals starting at 1400 GMT tomorrow, and that goes all the way through. We've got Eisomarto, Shelty, Allapes, Desive, Nullus, 3D Garnath, Tigerboss, Karma. And following that up, on the next day, starting at the same time, 1400 GMT, we've got El Matador versus TheRapl, we got Kvoth versus Tunison, we got TheMista versus HUSKSUPPE, and we got Recon versus Mosca. Going to be an action-packed day, but let's jump into these patch notes because it wouldn't be an S-tier tournament if we didn't get ourselves a balance patch just before the playoffs start. So let's jump right into it. Alrighty, so as we're coming down, we've got some Arena of the Gods Gauntlet mode updates. This patch brings many new challenges to the Gauntlet mode, new achievements, use of some of the Gauntlet mechanics in the single player and multiplayer, new missions, new chaos events, new favor stash items, new sources for favor stash currency, and other fixes. Continue reading to learn more. Okay, I will. Are you guys enjoying the Gauntlet? I've been thinking about giving it a proper try again. I gave it one go before release, and I haven't really been able to get around to it. Been sinking my teeth too much into competitive, so maybe it's time to have another look. We've got the Labyrinth running here. Complete any Labyrinth. This is all these new achievements, right? So you got a whole bunch more achievements you can grab. If you want to go for that full completion, you're going to have to go for these ones. So that's a little bit of fun. Gauntlet events in single player and multiplayer. Okay, you can now experience some of the Gauntlet features in other modes. In single player and multiplayer lobs, you can now choose to enable chaos events, player blessings, and enemy AI team blessings to modify your match experience. The frequency of events is modified by adjusting the lobby difficulty settings, much like it affects the frequency in Gauntlet mode. By default, these settings are disabled, and they are opt-in. Cool. So, fantastic. This basically, for those of you who haven't really got no idea what these things are, the chaos events is kind of just like a random thing that happens throughout the game. Like I've seen things like lightning storms getting cast and meteors and stuff all over the map. So it can be a pretty interesting way to shake up a game and turn the tides by pure chance. If you guys remember way back to early days in Legacy, there was this really cool game mode called God is Watching. I don't throw back to anyone else who was playing back in 2005, 2006. But you could have a player basically be the chaos mode and throw that stuff. So it's kind of cool. You got the player blessing events, you got enemy AI team blessing events, and all the other good stuff. I'm actually pretty excited to try this stuff. I've already been told I should do this for some free-for-alls. So let me know if you guys want to see some free-for-alls with some chaos events and player blessings or whatever else is in this stuff. Okay, so updates to Gauntlet mission pulls Japanese major gods and Japanese maps. 133 new missions have been added to the options. Wait, did I read that correctly? 133 new missions have been added to the options for what you can randomly encounter in your labyrinths. New missions give a similar chance to encounter each of the Japanese major gods as opponents and in some cases as your allies. You can also find some of the new Japanese random maps while you progress through the gauntlet. Cool. Fantastic. So we've got the new chaos events. These are going to be, so this is basically what they are. This is some new ones that people wouldn't have seen. That's no immune. An eclipse changes the sky while some ancient weapon wielders run amok. Okay, Hades of monkeys. Flaming monkeys have been sent by Hades to cause some chaos. Love it. Rebellious humans. Mother Nature has gained human soldiers to aid her. Love it. Calm before the storm. Suspense hostilities for a short time before throwing in some more chaos. I love it. All right, so a whole bunch more favor stash stuff. This is to help you through the harder levels of the Gauntlet. Down here we got new favor stash source. A whole bunch more stuff here. Co-op quality of life improvements. Okay, some may be trying out co-op for the first time, while others are veterans of the Gauntlet who have been playing with a friend from the beginning. There are several quality of life improvements for co-op to enhance your experience, with 2 new achievements to earn while playing in co-op. Find a friend and enter the Gauntlet together today. A new button has been added to re-invite your co-op partner that you last played with during a current session. Fantastic. So you can just keep going with your buddy. Love it. Most badges are now available while playing in co-op. Fantastic. You can now view which badge. Okay, fantastic. Onwards and upwards. When you finish a mission with the co-op partner, you will now return to the main menu instead of the Gauntlet screen. This change has been made because you may not have an active Gauntlet session. Okay. Gauntlet mode, balance, changes, and fixes. Okay. I don't know what any of this stuff was, so I can't really comment on it, but in terms of legend balancing and stuff like that, hopefully everything is just getting more strong, right? All right, we got random blessing balancing, chaos event balancing. I'm not going to go through this stuff. If you guys want to read it, you can click the link in the description below and check out these little things for yourself, or just go and experience it and see what happens. I think that's probably the most fun way to go about that sort of stuff. And this is other fixes and stuff. Okay, we've got camera updates. This is something for me. I'm very excited. I already got a little sneak peek. One of my friends pinged me and said, oh my God. All right, we got perspective camera. In this camera mode, you typically attach the camera above a selected unit and move in sync with its animations. This creates a perspective view where you can look out over the explored battlefield and see the fights up close. That is sick. I really want to try this. This is going to be so sick. But this is the one that I was sort of made aware of. Follow camera. In this camera mode, the camera automatically follows the selected units by panning relative to the unit's speed. Obviously amazing for casting and for the experience of following a army. I would have to sort of zoom in a certain amount and then use my arrow keys to kind of follow the unit. Now I don't have to do that, so that's going to be really cool. I have to get used to it, but good for the tournament. Be on the lookout for some cool camera movements. Nonetheless, there are multiple ways to access these options, including new buttons located on the selected unit's UI, assigning hotkeys or creating. Okay. Over here, obviously, these two buttons down the bottom is what you're going to be looking for. Fantastic. All right, this button on the right will pan. And man, that's going to look so sick. That's going to look so sick. Let me know if you guys want to see this sort of stuff like mid-tournament game. Like, it could be really cool. Nonetheless, man, that looks so cool. All right. Now we got into the game. Now this is, okay, let me just go straight up here. If this patch has 0 balance changes, I won't be mad, so long as there's these bug fixes and pathfinding stuff that we're after. This is what I'm after. Let's have a read. Fix the bug for the PlayStation 5. Fix some cases where network delays have been fixed. Fix the crash. Fix the crash. These aren't really helping me. Fixed cases where multiplayer matches could fail to start when transferring custom random maps. Oh, that's good. I've heard a lot about this one being very, very annoying for the custom game community. Fixed cases where transfer of custom maps could result in corrupted custom. Okay. Fix a performance issue that could. Okay. Graphics. Added a new physics quality mode setting. The high option matches the physics quality that has been in the game since launch. You can now choose to lower this setting for improved performance of the cost of visual quality. Okay, that's fine. Etc. Okay, audio. I don't really think I care. Okay, hotkeys. Fixed a bug. Fix some bugs. Added missing Norse hockey. Pre-queue classical myth unit upgrade. Love. For those of you who don't know, you can actually pre-queue your upgrades by, I believe it's hold Alt, Shift, and then the hotkey you would normally press to get them. So you can pre-queue with hotkeys there if you want. So for example, if you wanted to pre-queue your age up, which would normally be A, you could go Alt, Shift, A. Maybe that doesn't work on age up. I don't know. All right. So the UI, fixed wall tooltip positioning to no longer flicker to the top. Yes. This is like when you go onto the relic and the thing would go back and forth. Okay, the waiting for other players UI for matches. Okay, a new add friend button has been added to the top of the latest. Cool. When searching for friends, add friend. Like, this is going to be fun. I'm going to feel like I got friends again in the game. You can see and interact with the whisper option. Okay, fix some case where the editor button would appear. Okay, that's fix the bug. Fix the bug. Handhold. Site commands for food resources and wood resources for the Japan. Okay, that's fine. Fix the bug. Lays use silk. Fix. Hang on. I just gotta see something. Okay. It's coming up. All right. It's coming up. I had to find, because I didn't want to miss anything. All right. Okay, let's go into the gameplay. Okay, fixes. Fix the bug in Arena of God story mode that caused progress and rewards not to be granted to the co-op partner. Got some villager priority fixes and stuff. I don't really use this. Do you guys use this thing very much? It's kind of cool for people who just want to have a relaxing game and don't really want to manage the economy, just want to see the cool fights. And now we got the pathfinding fixes. Yes. Fixed cases where units would slow down after they had a new move command issued to them. This is possibly the biggest thing that people were complaining about in regards to pathfinding. Okay, there's obviously some other stuff as well, but this one was really big because you'd notice it, right? Every single game. Fixed cases where units targeting enemy units for attack would not follow the enemy unit's pathing. Your units should no longer try to travel to the location where the command was issued before attacking. This is good. So what was happening is you would attack a unit and then it would go to where you attacked it, where you first hit the same command. So say the unit is here and it's moving this. I don't know if you guys can see that. So the unit's moving here and it's moving this way. If I sent my guy from this side to attack it, it would go like this. And then chase, right? So what you want to do is continuously chase. So that's been fixed, hopefully. Fixed cases where units would revert to their original path when planning routes with a shift click. Fantastic. There was a lot of shift click problems. Fixed cases where scouts would go idle due to trying to navigate into non-walkable areas of the map. Fixed cases where pioneers would flee the battle and wander off the map. Yeah, they were just checking out what the edge, what if the world was truly flat or not. That's all it is. Fixed cases where units could become stuck on cliffs, terrains, and forests. Fantastic. Was having this happen to me a few times on some of those more cliffy maps. Improve behavior when bumping into units by not prematurely swapping attack targets. When bumping into enemy units and there is a recently commanded attack target nearby, the player's target will still be preferred over the bump unit. This is kind of a big change, I think. So, yeah, if I'm understanding this correctly, what would end up happening if, say, you were chasing a villager line, right? And your unit is attacking the unit on the back of the line. And then I would bring the unit, like a villager that's in the second place from the end. And then I would tell that unit to attack the random cavalry unit. Then that cavalry unit would automatically, because it bumped into that other villager, start attacking that one. And then you would often be able to run away with 2 half HP villagers instead of 1 dead villager. Which was silly, because obviously you want it to be attacking the unit you were telling it to. But this will be interesting to see how this actually changes the game. All right, so minor improvements to villager training for the Chinese build orders used by the AI. Okay, terrain collision is now ignored for ballistics. Fix the bug where deathmatch got passed. Okay, town center placement can no longer be used to check under fog of war. Oh, I don't even know if that was a thing. That's really cool. It's a bit of map hacks for you. Getting fixed. Love it. Commands to change stances will now only occur if the action would result in at least 1. Okay, fixed a bug that prevented Japanese AI from training additional villagers while playing Lightning. Okay, fantastic. Now we get into some balance changes or Pantheon changes. Okay, general. Siege weapons have had their crush damage slightly reduced. They've got a note here. Let's read that. This change gives people a little more time to defend when being sieged. Non-siege units, such as destroyers and war elephants, are purposefully omitted as they are not scaled as well with the changes in the recent fortifications rework patch. I will say in my own games, of course I'm talking from at the higher levels, I was actually quite enjoying the volatility of buildings dying from siege and things like that in the very late game. But earlier on in the game, it was a little bit much, right? Maybe that's the same sort of thing that everyone's feeling. So I don't know if there's a way around that. Maybe there is. You get like engineers and give that a little bit more of a boost. But this is kind of a cool change and we'll see how it goes. We've got in the deathmatch tower build limit was accidentally changed, was not meant to get being changed. Town centers now have +5 population. Okay. And Enlightening Japanese Villager build limit has been reduced to be in line with everything else. So that was just a bit of an oversight. All right. Zeus, Olympian parentage adjusts as follows. No longer trains heroes faster. Heroes now regenerate at +1 HP per second. I know exactly who wanted this change. We'll see exactly what this means. I think what this means for me as someone who sees this, I'm going to run my Heracles into your base. I am going to have it die basically without fully dying. I'm going to do as much harassment as I can running around your base. Then I will run back to my main base and I'll let it sit there until it gets back to full HP. That's what that means to me. And we'll see how it goes. It also does mean effectively there's a little bit more HP in a fight because a regeneration rate of +1 HP per second does mean a regeneration rate of 0.5, I believe, in battle. So you've got a little bit more HP in an actual fight with that Heracles, with that Jason, with that Odysseus, with that Bellerophon. All right, Ares, Enyo's Bow of Horror, projectile speed increase from +15 to +20. This will just make it really hard to dodge arrows. It'll be similar to having ballistics, I guess, if it was already like this. So it's kind of just reinforcing what it was supposed to do. Sylvan Lord. Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this one is because people haven't been making centaurs as much through no fault of the centaur. I'm going to be perfectly honest. The centaur is really, really good. So I'm not exactly I'm not surprised to see this change from the developer point of view. But this one here, I think the centaur is literally the best unit that the Greeks have got at the moment. I'm not over exaggerating. At least in the classical age, if not in the heroic age as well. All right, we got Anastrophe technology going to be getting a little bit of a boost, bit of an underwhelming tech. I like those sorts of changes. Colossus now has a 2x bonus damage multiplier versus myth units. Good. This was sort of similar to the Mountain Giant. There was a whole bunch of units, siege units, that have bonus versus myth units, and then there's a whole bunch that don't. And there was just nothing that really made sense. So this isn't really like a balance change. It's more of a well, we want to make sure that everything is similar. Like, we want to make sure there's like a standard here, so the game's not as crazy to learn. Like, if I build a myth unit, it should have bonus versus myth units. That's how it goes. And then you see one that doesn't, and it's like, hang on, I was lied to, and I have to hit resign because I was lied to. I was playing for this thing. So yeah, I like these changes. It's good. As you can see, the siege has come down a little bit. All right, so bonus monument area empowerment now affects monuments. Okay, so Ra has been struggling on the ladder. That is a fact. They are bringing back this effect as Ra has noticeably underperforming. Let me put this out to you guys. Ra at the top level is probably pretty good. It's not like a broken god. It's not S tier. It's not S triple plus tier. It's a good god. It's like in that like A-ish, B, high B-ish tier, right? Like very pickable, super decent, no problems there. Like I wouldn't want to move him up. I wouldn't want to move him down. But at the lower levels, he's really not working too well. What would you guys want to see for this god that would help your game as a lower level player? I think that would be a really interesting thing for you guys to have a little bit of a chat about. All right, mummies. Special attack, divine damage increase from 3 to 4 per second for 15 seconds. Now, this unit was nerfed a while ago. Haven't seen a whole lot of it. Since when before it was nerfed, it was a DPS machine. It was killing everything. It was really, really strong. Definitely on the strong, like the really strong end of the myth unit sort of spectrum. And then after that, it sort of just became a support unit where if you get as much of that mummy vomit onto as many units as you can and you try and kill them all, then you get the minions to help you out. So now obviously it's getting a little bit more divine damage per second, which is quite a big buff because it's 3, so it's 4 per second for 15 seconds, quite a big buff. We'll see how it goes, but Yeah, I think the mummy is definitely back on the board, on the table for just like more than just a support myth unit, more than one you just want a couple of them in your army, one that you can really sort of tech into and enjoy. And that's probably going to be another little bit of a boost for Ra as well, for those of you who want to go through that Osiris route. Okay, so Siege Towers, Catapults. Okay, Loki here, non-Hursa soldier contribution to spawning myth units increased from 10% to 15%. I like this. Loki has been noticeably underperforming, and I think the most fun way to make Loki perform better is to give him more of those myth unit spawns. Just straight up, it's probably going to be annoying for people playing against Loki, because if the spawns come in too fast, then you're like, wow, he's just got another lucky spawn. But realistically, this is, I mean, this is probably the most fun way to go about it. It's not really that much fun to just give them more damage, right? It's not that much fun to just take some cost off of a villager conversion, or it's not that much fun to take some cost off an ox cart. You know, those are the sort of bonuses that Loki's got. So this is the fun one. So I like that they go that way. At least in my opinion. Obviously, it's subjective. All right, so 4-SETI Dwarven Breastplate technology has become cheaper. Fine. This is a buff for Thor mostly. I don't see this as a buff for Loki, even though Loki does have 4-SETI and will be building some berserks from time to time. The reason it's a buff for Thor is because he's going to be able to have, I believe it's going to be 90 gold, 9 favor Dwarven Breastplate. So that's just an extra dwarf for very cheap. So that's going to be nice for him. All right, Yellowhorn here. Einherry hit points increased from 10% to 25%. I have not seen if this Einherry thing has. We'll have to try it out. It's a finicky unit. I don't want to get into it too much, but I like that the Einherry is getting some love. It is a really, really good unit when it's being used well. This is a really good unit, so I imagine it's going to be even better. Rigstula has had its cost reduced as well to 18 favor. I guess all of this is just to make up for the fact that Heimdall not really being used that much, even though when it does get used, it feels really good. I don't know. I think it's just like, how do I put this? There's like, just because something's not being used does not necessarily mean that it's bad. It just means that people don't really want to use it for whatever reason. Like 4-SETI is more fun. I get faster units. Faster units is fun. Heimdall, I just get more economy and more tower spammage. Tower spamming, is that fun? Maybe for some people, but I don't know. Onwards and upwards. Aegir, Grasp of Ran, damage required for a Kraken spawn increase from 400 to 500. Oh, really? So a nerf on that one. Okay. I guess it probably was having a bit of an impact on Settle Naikai, that water map. Like hybrid water map. All right. Myth units. Mountain Giant, Njord Hell now has a 2x bonus damage multiplier versus myth units. I said this about the Colossus. I'll say it about the Mountain Giant. Every myth unit should have bonus versus myth units. And if it's broken, then you have to fix the stats in a different way. Fire Giant, hit points increased from 600 to 750. Cool. These guys were dying too fast. These guys should be this ultimate late game unit. You just get out and they feel huge, but for whatever reason, they'll just meh. Okay, Fafnir. Now this guy is really good. I think this guy is really good. I was sort of doubting on him a little bit for a while, and then I actually started to really try and use him. He's really good. I don't care about giving my opponent the gold anymore, but I like that they give him a little bit of love and people are going to use him more. And then they can maybe look at changing something else afterwards. You know, I think that's a nice way to go if they're going to go that way. But yeah, I think this guy's really, really cool and really strong. Fenris Wolfbrood also getting some love. Definitely to try using this. I've been wanting to try and use this guy, but I haven't had an option. I haven't had the opportunity. All right, Berserk also getting some hit point increases. That's a lot of hit points there. Big boosts for the Berserk here as well then, because you got to remember there's also that 4-SETI, so a double buff there on the Berserk for 4-SETI. I do think that the Berserk remains this unit. For those of you guys wondering, like, just what like high level players think about this unit is probably a unit you don't buy unless you go 4-SETI, Odin, or what's it called, Ulla, and you get one of those technologies that boost the speed of the Berserk. That's when the Berserk gets good, when he gets to 5.25 speed. If he doesn't have that tech and he's not at 5.25 speed, then I'm sorry, he's kind of mid. Or was it 5 speed? I don't know. He needs to get that little bit more speed Because he's got so much DPS. He's such a good raider, such a good side builder. And once you get all the technologies, he's a really, really nice generalist unit for your army as well. So you can like get the chaos happening, get the walls set up all over the place, get to Bragi, or get to Tyr, or get to Vidar, and then you can have some fun with that. We are seeing the portable rams going down, fire siphons going down. Now we've got the new apparently I've been saying this wrong. Kuafu Chieftain going from 30 to 40 seconds. And then the Kuafu train time has gone from 36 seconds to 45 seconds. So let's do some quick math here. Kuafu is worth 3 villages. That's what it's worth. I'm gonna even open up the calculator so you guys can see it. 3 villages is 18 times 3, 54 seconds. You're still in front by building a Kuafu. It is still worth it. This is a big nerf, but this was an insanely strong strategy for China, and one of the reasons we've been seeing a lot of China in Champions League on the ladder, and I think the win rates are somewhat showing this. Now, there's some people who haven't really been using it, and therefore you won't really be affected by this all too much. Get yourself 1 or 2 Kuafu, and then go into like Chillin or Yatsa or Taltier or whatever you want, and you're going to be good to go. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to go. We'll see if we can get some build orders out there. I'm really hoping we're not going to see all too many more economic changes. It does make it tough on the old casual audience who's trying to learn a build order. It just keeps getting changed, but that's okay. We'll make some new ones and get that sorted. Siege crossbows also going down. This is all of that siege stuff. Okay, now this is the Japanese Pantheon. This is the other one that a lot of people have been complaining about, I think, at least from what I've been seeing on YouTube and on Twitch and on Discord. So New Moon cost increase from 100 favor to 125 favor. This is a fairly low nerf, small nerf on this. I do think that the second charge of this, specifically when a player would go for something like fast watchtowers to defend a cheese or defend some early aggression using that New Moon, then just save up the 100 favor and go for the armory and have full like heavy units, full bronze, and then just have a really strong army. It's very consistent, very strong. A little bit more favor on that does make it a little bit slower to happen, and also a little bit more palatable for the opponent. Kusanagi also having a cost increase there. This thing is strong. I think Susanoo has been having a lot of success, and I don't know about the win rates on the ladder, but I haven't been looking at it but he's definitely been having success in my games. So that's all I can really go on. All right. And that's against me as well, by the way. All right. We got Inari Orkami. We got Ivory Netscare Myth Unit Gold from 0.5 to 0.4, and cost reduced from 200 gold to 150 gold, 18 favors. So it's a double sort of change, a bit of a buff and a nerf. I don't know how often we were seeing Susanoo grab this tech, if we're completely honest. It's really, really strong on like a water map. But on like a land map, I think we were seeing most Susanoo players ignoring this in favor of like God Power Spammage. So hopefully this kind of says, no, you guys should grab this one. It's really good. You should make myth units. They're really strong. Go down that path. But yeah, 0.5 gold was clearly too much. You just got so much value out of this, and when it comes down, I don't know how to explain it, but like economy is capped. Your ability to increase your income is capped by your town centers, right? By how many production buildings you have for economy, town center, dock, market, right? And then you say, okay, well now we're going to turn the temple into an economy building. So now I'm capped not by my economic buildings, but actually by my favor income as well. So now all of a sudden I'm converting my Mikor, which is getting me favor, which is also I'm paying for, right? I'm converting that into a unit that's getting me more income. So I'm not actually having that loss or that payment needed for this stuff. So this tech here is kind of that weird one where I'm genuinely not sure that this tech would be. I'm not sure where this tech is going to have to end up for it to feel like good at a really competitive level. But 0.4 is still really good. This is still a must grab tech for anyone building myth units. All right, next one, Shogun. Now spawns 1 samurai every 7 hits rather than per 100 damage dealt. This I love. I absolutely love this change. This doesn't take away. Okay, what I hated about the Shogun is that I couldn't build myth units from it. The only myth units I could build is myth units that are fast, because I can just run away from the Shogun. If I have any myth units that are slow, well, too bad. Shogun comes, then they're just going to get a billion samurai on you in no time flat. So now I don't care. You kill off my myth unit, fine. It's dead. It's whatever. I screwed up. I shouldn't have had that myth unit in that spot. I could have microed better. But anyways, you killed it. It's not the end of the world because you didn't get like a billion samurai from it. But you can still kill it nice and fast. I really like this change. Well done to the dev who came up with this. Beautiful. All right. Heavenly Barrage. Okay, before we go on, there's one more change before I want to bring this up. Heavenly Barrage, Junko Zozen. So hard to say. Junko Zozen. Damage. Okay, so this is the Son of Osiris ships. Another bit of a nerf here. This is just a really strong technology. So they're just trying to find where the numbers are to keep it fun, but like make it so that it doesn't just completely break the game. So I think I don't know what the numbers are, but 2 Divine, 2 Crush is definitely not a terrible way to go. Now we see the Tengu. Tengu is now cost increased from 200 wood, 15 favor to 250 wood, 20 favor. Okay, that's a pretty hefty nerf to the old Tengu there. We got the recharge time also increased from 10 to 15 on the jump. So yeah, this to go deep into it. Right now, the strategy that everybody is struggling against, or the go-to strategy was Tsukiyomi with New Moon on the temple, getting Ivory Net Scare, and getting Tengu. That was the strategy. So it's all been hit. Is this a big nerf? No. The stats are still the same, still really strong, got a little bit more expensive. I say a little bit, a hefty amount more expensive, but I mean, like when you bring everything together, 250 wood for a myth unit is pretty much on the cheap side. 20 favor, that's in the mid side of expensive. Like that's right in the middle. Like obviously 30 favor is expensive, 20 favor is in the middle, and like 15 favor-ish is that cheaper option, right? Or 8. Obviously there's the 6 favor automaton, but we don't count that one. That one's unique. So yeah, pretty it's been brought from a very cheap myth unit into a mid-tier costing myth unit. And I think that's because that is what its stats are. So I think this is a good change. All right, Jiragumo now goes cost reduced from 160 gold 18 in favor to 160 gold 16 in favor. So a little bit of a buff there for the Jiragumo, as well as the bonus damage multiplier versus heroes increased from 0.25x to 0.5x. Okay, and then we also have the Shinigami special attack bonus damage versus heroes reduced from 0.5x to 0.25x. And the Revenant Vengeful also getting that same treatment there, because I think they were missing the bonuses. So just bring them in line with everything else. Not necessarily even a nerf, just like a buff versus the other myth units and bringing them in line with... anyways. Okay, and now the next thing here for Japan, Dojo adjusts as follows. Bushido XP contribution from combat reduced from 1.5 to 1.25 XP per damage dealt. Bushido XP and passively reduced from 0.5 to 0.25 per second. Pretty big nerf. Pretty big nerf. Yeah. This thing was crazy. And I still think it's kind of crazy. Even like, I just give you my own personal experience of some situations playing against like someone who's not using dojo units and still getting to heavy while we're both in the classical age. You know, those things happen, right? So yeah, this is obviously the dojo units are double costed. But they also got the double stats as well. So I don't. And anyways, I like that it's here. I think that's a really interesting idea for the Bushido. I don't think it's necessarily a bad design thing. I think it's cool. I think it definitely fits inside the Age Mythology universe. I just think there's a number where it needs to be at, where it feels good to play against and it feels good to use as well. If we're talking strictly balance. But I do like it as a concept. Anyways, we've also got the Ondomusha having a little bit of a nerf here as well. And the Onmyoji also having a nerf and a pierce armor increase. Okay. And the Oyumi also having some crush damage reduced because everything did. All right. And Anatolia fixed some. Okay. I don't even know what that means. Animus. 2 players starting with no nearby resources. We can't have that. Fix it. And then the campaign getting fixed, as well as a whole bunch of extra triggers and stuff getting added in for all those guys. Model system modding update. Got a whole bunch of cool stuff here for the models. This is cool. I have no idea what it is, but if you guys want to take a look at it, be my guest. Okay, so where does this leave everything? So I don't think China's going to be bad. So I think China's the main thing that was breaking China has been brought back in line. I think China's still going to be good. I don't think it's going to be bad. What else kind of got changed? We saw the Ra getting some help. I think that's obviously going to help Ra at the top level. I'm hoping it helps with the lower levels as well. We saw some Norse help. We saw Japan getting kicked in the shins, so to speak. But I think that's for the best. I think that's for the best, and maybe some months down the track when everything starts sort of like feeling good, you can look to like maybe help them out if they need to. I do have one major concern with Japan, but I think that it's either a problem of players not having worked it out yet, like worked out all the problems, which does happen, or it's a problem with the design and something needs to kind of be given to help them. And that's that Japan does struggle a little bit right when the classical age hits. So a little bit of playing around there, let the players sort of figure it out for a while is a good idea. And if they can't, and it sounds out that the majority of the Japan losses are at 5 minutes, then well, let's fix that. Hey, so we'll see. I don't want to push it one way or the other, but I think this is going to be a really fun patch. So hope you guys are enjoying. Make sure you tune in for Champions League, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.